Hello everyone, and welcome back to our drawing class. Today we're going to learn how to draw a wrench type object. So we'll get started. I've got Fusion open, and when we start a new drawing, first thing we should do is always name our drawing and save it. So I'm going to call this one wrench 916 because we're going to make a 9/16 wrench. And I've already got my folder created that I want it in, so we can just tell it to save. Now we're working on our drawings now, wrench 916 version 1. Next thing we do is come down and check our units, make sure they're what we want them in. We're going to be working in inches, so that's what I wanted. So now we're ready to start creating our components. So the first one I'm going to create is going to be I guess you could call it the handle. It's kind of really a body. Doesn't make a lot of sense to name things body, but you can call it body 916. And when we go to create this, make sure that you've got this activate button unchecked, or it'll turn your new component into a master assembly, which we don't want. So now it turned the wrench into the master assembly and the body into that, and that's exactly what we want. So now we can create another component. This one we're going to call the socket. And we need one more, and we're going to call that one the head, just so we can keep track of what part is going where. Now we've got our 3 components created. We're going to need some sketches to draw them on, so I'm going to come down here and activate my body, create a new sketch. Going to put it on the XY plane, and I'm going to name it body 916. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to go ahead and create a couple more sketches that I know we need. So going to activate my socket, create a sketch. I'll also put it on the XY plane, and I'm going to come down here and name it and then one more time gonna do it with the head. And I like to do it in the beginning because it's easier not to get it's easy to get confused when you're trying to figure out which sketch you need to open, or things like that. If you got them named, it greatly simplifies things when you're trying to find what you're working on or what you're looking for. So before I continue with my sketch, I want to go in here and I want to start organizing my dimensions. Today we're going to be using the f of x change parameters, and normally when you create anything and give it a dimension, it's going to start naming things dimension 1, dimension 2, through however many you want. And that's really kind of meaningless to me, so I'm going to go ahead and create some of my own dimensions. Right now I'm only worried about the certain ones, so I'm just gonna get them in here. It helps keep them organized, and then I don't have to look at the drawing plans as much. So that's our first one, and notice it gives us what that decimal value is. So it tells us 9/16 times 1, and gives us a body dimension. So that was our body width. Now I'm going to put in our body length. This is going to be 4 inches. So then we need body length or body height, which is 0.25 inches. Then we're going to need our socket circumference, socket C. I think that was 3/4. I'll check it before I... Yeah, that was 3/4. Then we need our socket height, so sock H, 916. That was 0.3. See if we need anything else off of here. We need our polygon radius, so and some of these dimensions are the same as others, but when you've got them all named something that makes a little bit of sense to you, it makes keeping them, it makes using them less confusing. So this is my box outline, which you'll see what we're going to need that for here in a minute, and that's 1.25. So if I were to go in and plug in the rest of these numbers for the body 5/8, which I'm not going to do right now, we might do later if I get through this quick enough. When you have them all set up like this, so we can draw our 9/16 inch, and when we're all happy with it, we can save it. And if we had them other dimensions plugged in, we could just change the dimensions from 916 to the 5/8 and have a whole new wrench without having to draw it. So that's kind of why you mess with these f of x dimensions. They're just a way to organize them to make your life much simpler. So now we're ready to start drawing, and the first thing I'm going to do is draw the box for the head. So I'm going to start it at origin. I prefer starting things at origin. They typically will automatically lock down. So if I start typing, thought it had a box outline. There it is, box outline. And I've got it in one side. Now I can tab over, do the same thing. Select it, position which quadrant I want it in, tell it enter, or yep, and now I've got my dimensioned lockdown box to start with. So the next thing I'm going to do is I need this to look more like a wrench head, so it's got to fit a 9/16 nut, so we're going to add a second box in here, and I'm going to draw it off to the side. Well, I'll draw it inside it. I'm going to draw it in here just cause, and I want it to be 9/16 tab 9/16, enter, and now I've got a new box within my box. But that's not exactly where I want it, but I'll deal with that. So I'm going to go get my midpoint constraint, and I'm going to come grab this line at the midpoint, and I'm going to grab this line. So it's being stubborn. It's not going to let me do it. So I'm going to delete these two constraints. Oops. I don't want to delete the line, just the constraint. So let's see if it'll work now. I'm going to midpoint from this to the midpoint of that, and there we go. So we have more stuff here than I need right now, so I'm going to come in here and do a little modifying on this box a little bit. So I'm going to come up here and get my trim tool, and I want this to go away. So yes, I broke the model, and now I want this section to go away, and I also want to trim this section out of there because I don't want it at all. So that's a little closer to what I want, but I still got a few things I need to do. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to grab me a line, and I'm going to make this line half, so 0.563. Before I do that, I just want to show you something. So we know that that's 5/8. So can we go 5/8 divided by 2? That's kind of scary looking. I'm sorry, that was 9/16. So, but we could go to get our head body height. That's not right. Socket height, body height. Oh, that's weird. Let me open them up so I can see what I'm actually looking at. Body W is 9/16. We could use that if we wanted. Did I use 5/8? Yes, I did. Okay, so that's all wrong. And this is why. Oh, I guess it's not wrong. So we'll leave it, but So back to where we were. One more, I think. Nope, that's it. So draw my line. But we can come in here and pick our let me bring up my list to make it easier. So body W would be fine. Let's see. That's not what I wanted. Okay, so let me back that up and do it again. So we could tell it 0.583, oops, 63 divided by 2, give us the right length, and we need that to be on a 45-degree angle, so we can tab over, tell it 45 degrees, tell it enter, and then okay, my mistake. Let's redo this. So from here to here, we want 0.563, tab 45, come on, Fusion, there we go. So now we can also do the same thing from the other side. Tell it we want this one to be 0.563. Oops. Let me check my angle. Let me just redo it because I'm not sure if I did that right. So line .563. Let's tab over to our angle, 135 degrees. Looks reasonable. Let's see, let's throw a perpendicular constraint between these two, since they should be 90 degrees in there. Okay, now that worked. So I'm going to come in here and trim the excess. And notice I broke most of it. I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to tell it that I want this one to be equal to that one. So they're reasonably locked together at this point. Also, I want these up here to be equal to each other. They should probably be perpendicular. So, wow, that just locked the rest of it down. So, that's what we were after. Let me see what my other sketch looks like. So, yep, we're ready to, that's all we need from that one. So now we can come over and we'll finish creating our parts before we start assembling things. So I'm going to shut that off. I'm going to activate my body. I'm going to activate my sketch. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to draw me another rectangle. So we need a rectangle. The body, length. Now we can tab over and select body width. Press enter. We've got our lockdown box. That one's ready to go, so we can finish that sketch and we'll go have a look at our we'll go make our socket real quick. So let's see, come down, we'll activate our socket. And we're going to create us a center diameter circle. In this one, we're going to use socket socket C. Enter. We've got a lockdown circle. So now we're ready to start moving into 3D. Oh, no, there's one more thing I need to do with this one. I forgot. So we're going to draw us a construction line. 0.25. Then we're going to draw us 2 more lines. From there, the length doesn't really matter as long as they're 90 degrees. Is that where I want them? No, it's really not. Okay, that's not what I want. And 0.25. So gonna offset this line 0.125. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to do it again. And I really don't need the construction line. I can just tell it to go away. But I do need these to go a little further, and I want to make sure they go into my circle. So I made them a little long, and now I'm just going to trim them. That way I know they're what I want. And they're in the wrong place. So these, we're going to offset that again, but this time we want it to be 0.25. And then we're going to do the same thing in the other direction. We had to put a negative sign in front of it to get it to offset the way I wanted it to. Tell it it's happy. We can get rid of our construction line. Before I do anything with these, I want to constrain them horizontally and vertically, so I won't put the vertical constraints on them, so they have to stay vertical. So now we can extend these into our circle, and then come up here and grab our trim tool and fix them the way we want them. And this is not locked down because it's not a closed object, so we can just type L for our line tool, close this up, and then we have to give this whole mess a dimension. So we may be able to get away with just telling it the dimension from here. That wasn't what I asked for. Nope, yeah, that would probably be the better choice, so let's go with that. We'll dimension from here to our center, and then we just need to make these equal, most likely. Let's see. There we go. So looks in the center, so that's ready to go on to our next part. Okay, so that should be ready now. Okay, so this is going to be the more difficult piece, so we're going to start with it. We'll come up here and we'll grab our extrude. We want to extrude it. We're going to extrude the two parts separately because they're different dimensions. So we'll start with this one. This one is sock C. Oh, no, I don't need that. Sock H. It's not the circumference, it's the height. So we tell it we want it to go that high. And let's take a look at this thing from a different vantage point. We're not going to want the handle to be starting at one end and ending short of the other end. We want it centered in the middle, so we don't want to select a one-sided direction. We want it to be symmetric, and that way when we extrude this we can have it lined up in the center, and that looks pretty good, except for now it's twice the size of what we need. So if we come over here and change from half length, so this is got a whole unit in one half length and a whole unit in the other half length, that's not what we want. We can select whole length for the entire thing, and that will work out better. And we're going to have it create a new body, and let's see, we're in our socket, so we can tell it okay. Now we've got that part of our body. So now we've got a new body. It's called body 1. I'm going to change that to socket B. And I'm not done with that. We still got to add this other piece on. So we can turn our sketch back on. We can tilt up a little bit. We can tell it we want to extrude. And this is where I get a little fussy. I like to be certain I'm right on top of something when I'm selecting it. So select my profile. Again, we're going to tell it we want symmetric. We want the whole length. And we got to give it our value. So this one's 0.25. Let's have a look. That's exactly what we're looking for. So this time Fusion's pretty smart. Instead of creating a new body, it's going to join these two parts together for us, and that's exactly what we need. So we can tell it okay, and now we've got our socket. So before we go on to creating any more parts, we still gotta put the let me spin this around the way it belongs. Not the way it belongs, but the way I like to look at things from the top. So now we need to put our polygon in here, create us our hole. So we can come over to I'm pretty sure it's under modify. So when in doubt, come down here, click type S, start typing PO. We've got point along pass, plane through 3 point. We got a whole bunch of stuff, but we don't have a polygon. So we must have to go back into our sketch. Does this give us a polygon? Yes, this gives us a polygon. So we want a inscribed polygon. We're going to put it here. It's so if we type poly 9/16, but for some reason Fusion's polygons are twice as big as they should be. They must be asking for the radius instead of diameter, so we can just tell it poly 9/16 divided by 2. Now it's where we want it. And before we go accepting it, we can move our thing around. But really, I'm not ready to place it yet. Let's tab over. It needs to be 12-sided. There we go. That's more what we're looking for. So if we place this, and this is another reason I like to draw at the XY plane, because I've got these nice XY lines to guide me with what I'm doing. So you don't have to do it that way, but I'm okay with that. So our polygon is not locked down, which is seeing as how it's got a value and we've got it bound to center, you would think it would be locked down, but I really hate to mess with it. So let's come have a look, see if I can do anything strange with it. So notice it's bound to the middle, but I can still move it around, and that's not what I want. So put it back where I had it, and let's see how we can constrain this. Can we constrain? Can we put a horizontal vertical constraint? There we go. So now our polygon's locked down. So let's go back to our object. So we were in our socket body. Let's see what this thing looks like. That's pretty much what I want. But we gotta extrude that hole in it yet. And notice that it's kind of fussy. It'll let us select it. Let's see if P will let us select it. So select the geometry we want. Come on, you can do it, Fusion. Let's try it again. Fusion just being fussy today. Let me get out of here. Let me get out of there. Let me go back into our sketch. P. Okay, that's not going to work, obviously. Let's do something different. So let's do an extrude. Let me put this back where I like it. Let's do an extrude. Wants us to select our profile, which is not going to let us. Still not gonna let us. So nope, not gonna let us. Let's just leave it at profile plane. Let's turn our body off. Let's see if we can select this. Select the inside. That's what we want. We need this to let's turn our body back on. We want this to be symmetrical, and we should be able to tell its sock height. We want it to cut. And that looks about perfect. So we can tell it okay. And now we've got the shape of our polygons. So that part's ready to assemble. And we can shut it off and move on to our next part. Did we do this one yet? Doesn't appear so. So let's do this one. Yeah, we started with the hard one. Of course we did. So let's do this one. This is probably the easiest. So we're going to extrude it. We're going to come select our body. This one is a simple part. There's not two pieces to it, so it doesn't matter how we extrude it, one side, two side, or what. This one's gonna be our body height. Spin it up here. It looks right to me. So new body, tell it okay, and that piece is ready. So we can shut that off for now and go to our the most difficult piece. So let's turn it on, and why is that not locked? Let's try, oops. Beats me. Said it was locked a minute ago, so we'll just go with what we got. Looks blocked. So let's get back on top. We're gonna extrude this piece, and notice I didn't fill it or anything, count for anything yet, just because the simpler we keep it, our 2D drawings, the less problems we'll have locking them down. And now that we've got this ready to lock, we've got this simple shape, it's easier to manipulate it in 3D than to fight with all that trying to lock it down business. So select our body. I think it's body H. No. HE. What do I got this one under? Oh. I guess I really didn't make one for that. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to tell it 0.25. Let's go 0.3. Tell it okay, and now we've got the start of our object. So this wouldn't be a very good wrench. It's got way too many sharp corners on it, so we're going to have to work on fixing that. Let's start over here. This sharp corners have got to go. But we need a way to mark our center here. Let's start with let's go modify something. So let's get our chamfer tool, and we don't want equal distance because this is going to be kind of weird. And I want to start, I don't want to chamfer this corner. So you got to be careful how you pick things, or you may not get what you actually want. This one, so it was an inch. Then we'll repeat on the other side. Tell it okay. And that's starting to look a little bit better. So let's go ahead and assemble this thing, and we'll go from there. So let's turn our other parts on. Let's see. Let's activate our master component. Now we can assemble things. So we'll drag this thing out of the way. We'll move this over here. But everything's constrained to origin, and it'll stay that way. But if we drag them around a little bit, they don't know. So let's assemble this thing, and then we'll finish cleaning this up. So start with our joint tool. Wants us to pick a component. Start here with this one. You gotta be careful how you pick it. You want to make sure you pick it in the center. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on in there, but I want that one right there. And then I need to pick this one. I used the wrong dimensions on the body of the wrench, and now this is bigger than the parts that it goes to. So we could either go make another one, or we could do this the easy way. So if we go back in here to our modify, come down to our change FX parameters. Let's see. Look at our body. So it's 9/16 wide. It's only supposed to be a 1/2 inch wide. So if I change my body width from 0.563, it's not going to let me do it there. So I got to come up here to body width, and it needs to be 1/2, which when I changed it, my part changed. So now let's see if we can put this thing together, and let's real quickly see if it's the right size or not. A second ago it was too big. Now it's the right size, so we can continue on. So that's another reason for using them f of x dimensions. When you come in here and look at this, these dimensions give you a value. When it's linear dimension D16, it's like who, what, where. D16, D17 don't make a whole lot of sense, but when you see body length, body width, makes it easier to find what you need to deal, what you need to use to deal with what you're trying to do. So let's get back to trying to joint this thing together. So I'm going to pick the center of that, and then I'm going to spin this thing around to where I can get a good look at its center. And that's what I want. So yep, that's how I wanted it. So angle 90 degrees, offset, motion. We don't want motion, we want rigid. So now we can tell it okay. And then we got to put the rest of it together, so we can pick assemble again. Make sure you get the right center that you need. Spin it around. Select our center. Again, we need rigid. Looks good to me. So now, and we can come over here and make our socket look a little better by turning that sketch off. So there we go. kind of starting to look like a wrench. I know, not really, but we're getting there. So, if you've ever used a wrench, you will know that playing with sharp corners are not a whole lot of fun. So, we're going to try and do something about that, and we're going to eliminate our sharp corners. So, we're going to do some fillets. We're going to do multi-sized fillets, because this part of the wrench, if you grab hold of it with your hand, you got some sharp corners. They're no fun. Sharp corners can cut you, make your hands much more tired and sore at the end of the day. So we're going to fix some of this stuff. So it's hard to get a wrench on a nut when everything is perfectly square. So we're going to put just the slightest fillet on the edges. Then we're going to flip it over, do the same thing to the other side. And I'm doing these first because they're going to be different than the ones we're going to do in a little bit. I'm going to have different values, so trying to do. If we do these last, the other ones will run right over them, and it won't come out the way we want it. So, and then I'm going to do the same thing to the socket edge. It just allows makes it easier to put the nut over a wrench, and when there's just the ever so slightest chamfer there, or bevel, fillet. So I want to get this last section, but you got to be careful which one you're picking. You got to make sure you're picking the top ones and not the other side that you've already chosen. Let's see, 24. Yep, there's a couple missing yet. That one, that takes us to 31, so there should have been 24 there. $25, $26, $27, $28. 29, 30, 31. There's one missing somewhere. think it's that one. Yep, 32. So I'm just going to put the ever slightest fillet on that. So just 1/1000th of an inch. Or is that 100th? That's 100th. That's small enough it won't bother anybody. So I'm going to tell it okay. And come back and look at what we created so far. So starting to take nice shape. So let's come over here and fillet this nice and smooth in here. We'll start with this one. And that one. This lets you see what you're doing while in real time. So is that what I want? It's a little bit too big. Let's try 0.3. 0.1. That will do. So ended up being the same measurement, but at the same time not. So now we've got that taken care of. Let's smooth this body out a little bit. I wouldn't want to hold that thing. So come in, grab our fillet. We want all 4 edges here. And 8. Okay, where did I get 8? Oh, it automatically grabbed them. So let's go back to that sketch and see about fixing that. So we need this to be 0.5 and it's not dimensioned, so even though it's locked down. So let's go ahead and fix that. So 0.5 instead of 0.511. Finish our sketch. Let's go back and see if our wrench fixed itself. Yes, it did. Almost. So we can turn our sketch back off. everything's fitting nicely, but I want that joint to go away. And there's one here too. So let's go up here and get our combine tool. Let's do this again. Just gonna let it do its thing. But I want this to be my target body, because I'm going to join these two to it. So if I tell it okay, the joints are still there, but you can't see them anymore. It's a nice smooth surface. So that's what I wanted. So let's bring it around here again. Now let's deal with this. So we're going to fillet it. We're going to grab our 4 sides and let's try a 0.3. Too big. 0.1, still too big. 0.5, 0.05. Let's try this again. Camphor. Those two. That one. And that one. Let's try 0.04. That looks kind of nice. Let's try a little bit bigger. 6. I like that one, so that's the one I'm going to stick with. So let's finish smoothing this end of this thing out. The These two are not very happy for your hand, so let's smooth them down a little bit. Let's see. Pick this one, pick this one. 0.02. Let's see how that looks. That looks very happy. So we're going to go with that. Let's come up here and see if we can do anything with this. So let's play with this one a little bit. Do I want to go? Yeah, let's see if we can get them both. They'll be the same. So let's try 0.02. Wow. Let's see how perfect we can get this. That's about as close as we're going to get that probably. So I'm going to declare that one happy. Now we'll see what we can do with the rest of this. Let's see. This is all nice and smoothed over here, so let's put it. I wish they'd make a jump to top button. So that half looks beautiful. This half still needs some help. So let's finish dealing with this thing. Looking good though. So this needs help right here. So do these. So let's start up here and work our way around. So we want to put a very delicate camphor right here. So we'll select the two of them. And we'll start playing with sizes till we see something that looks good to us. Ooh, that looks really good. Yep, I'll be happy with that. So now we just got to deal with this ugly shape here. So let's see what we can do. Let's try a fillet, see if fillet makes it look any prettier. So let's see. Let's go a little bigger. Let's see if That looks a lot better. So while we're at it, let's get the other side, repeat it. Let's see, fill it. I'll make me go around there, aren't you? So guess we're gonna have to go around there. So this up here is not the prettiest yet. So let's see what we can do with it. That's still kind of ugly. So let's try our chamfer tool again. Let's see. Let's come. It's in the wrong place. Hey, sweet pea. So now we have a wrench-shaped object. Let's go ahead and render it. Oh, hold on. Before we go and render it, let's apply some physical materials to it. It's metal. We don't want anything soft. Hey, sweetie. Steel would be fine, so we'll just make it steel. And then for its physical appearance, I'll just make it silver. Now we'll go over to our render. We'll go to our setup. Its appearance is fine, but let's I guess we'll put it in a field. For no good reason. We're not going to put any textures or decals on it. We just want to fast. I'll tell it OK. I'll tell it in canvas render. We're going to go ahead and render it. We're going to do a local render because there's no reason to spend money on it. Tell it to render. Let it do its thing. Now that it's done, we should be able to look at it. And we've got a wrench kind of thing. So once we've got it rendered, we can download it and save it somewhere. And then we could go back to what we were doing. So now we've got that done. We can create a drawing from our design. Create new from scratch, feet and inches. We can tell it okay, and it'll create us a drawing. So our base view, it wants us to place it somewhere. We can pick the view we want of it. I kind of like that one better. I want it to be a little bit bigger. I want it to actually be the size. So So I think the view I'm going to use is that one. I can tell it doesn't appear to be any differences going on. I'm just going to tell it okay. That's not the view I actually want. So the only way to change that is go back to my wrench, rotate it around to the view that I usually work from, go back over here and place our drawing again, create new. Let's try from the top. That's still not the way I want to look at it. So once we have our view, we can edit this. I want it more of a one-to-one. Yeah, maybe we'll leave it 1-2. So we're gonna create a couple different views of it. So we've got our front, we've got our top and our side, and a couple of different ISOs. So now we can finish this. Let's create another page. Yeah, let's just go back to the page we were just using. And we'll just dimension this one. So now we've got all the dimensions that it needs. We can create a table if we want. We typically go and put our table in the upper corner. And notice that it told us things about our parts, such as the body. We turned it into silver. It's got a socket and a head and how many of each there is. And also what scale it was made to, and who made it and when. So once we've got that done, we can export it as a PDF. Tell it OK. It wants to know where you want it. Then you can save it. And now we've created our wrench, created a render, created our paperwork that goes with it. So that's the end of this lesson. Hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one.